Turn in your student books to page 139. To define words, we need to understand the word's categories and attributes. Categories are the broad groups. Attributes are things like size, shape, color, texture, and function. The category of a word is the broad group that it fits into. The broad category for jazz is music. The attributes of the word are what make it different or unique from other words within the category. Attributes are things like size, shape, color, texture, and function. An attribute of jazz is that it was created in America. Another attribute is that it was created by musicians from many cultures. Another attribute is that it was a combination of many styles of music. So we can define jazz this way: music that was created in America from a combination of many types of music with many cultural influences. Now I want you to look at the word ballad in the fourth paragraph of Jazz the Recipe. The passage, Jazz the Recipe, tells how musicians sang simple songs called ballads. Did ballads express happiness? Did ballads tell stories of heroes and bravery? If we put ballad into a broad category, what would it be? A ballad is a genre of music. What attributes make a ballad different from other music? Use the category and attributes to write a definition in your student books. So a way to write this would be that a ballad is a type of music written by Scotch-Irish people that tells sad stories about heroes and bravery. Now I want you to complete the rest of page 139. Now turn to page 140. Proficient readers preview the text for text features such as headings and graphics. They reread the text slowly and carefully to gain understanding. They also monitor their thinking while reading to be sure that each sentence and paragraph makes sense. Proficient readers look for answers to big idea questions. In this unit, we are answering the questions: where does jazz music come from, and why do people make music? Let's do what proficient readers do and reread Jazz the Recipe. We will review the text features of nonfiction text. Please use your writing utensil to mark your answer according to my instructions. Draw a rectangle around the title, Jazz the Recipe. Next, Mark each bold vocabulary word as I read it aloud. Recipe. A recipe is a formula or list of ingredients and directions for making something. Repeat after me. Recipe. Blues and ragtime contributed to the recipe for jazz. Steady. Steady means not subject to change or constant. Say steady. African American slaves worked to a steady beat. Simple. Simple means having few parts or easy to understand. Say simple. Europeans sang simple ballads. Plantations. Plantations are large farms where crops are grown. Say plantations. Ballroom dances were held on plantations. Social. Social means friendly, involving several people. Say social. Ballroom dances were social parties. Demand. Demand means requirement or need. Say demand. Ballroom dances created a demand for flute players. Combined. Combined means joined together. Say combined. Dance music combined African and European music. Express. Express means to communicate. Say express. Slaves expressed their feelings through song. Are there any vocabulary words that are still confusing for you to read or understand? Look over your ratings from the first lesson. Were you honest about your word knowledge? Now it's time to do something about it. You will read the text, Jazz the Recipe, one paragraph at a time. After each paragraph, you will monitor your understanding by circling the check marks or the question marks. Remember, good readers are honest about what they don't know and do something about it. Draw a question mark over confusing words, phrases, or sentences. I will provide specific instruction on how to mark the text that will help with your comprehension and writing. Let's read the first paragraph. Look up when you have finished reading the first paragraph. Circle the check mark or question mark for this paragraph. Draw a question mark over words that confuse you. Review line 2. Mark 2 groups of people who influenced jazz. Review line 3. Mark 2 examples of different kinds of music that influenced jazz. Review line 4. Mark who owns jazz. Choose a heading for this section from the headings chart. Write the heading on the line above this section. Let's read the next paragraph. Look up when you have finished reading the next paragraph. Circle the check mark or question mark for this paragraph. Draw a question mark over words that confuse you. On line 10, mark and number the second type of music that influenced jazz. Mark the phrase that tells why they rewrote old songs. Mark the parts of church songs that African Americans changed. Okay, back up a little bit. Sorry about that. Circle the check mark or question mark for this paragraph. Draw a question mark over words that confuse you. Mark the prepositional phrase that tells when workers sang. Circle the preposition. Mark 3 prepositional phrases that tell where workers sang. Circle the prepositions. Go to line 8. Mark how songs changed the lives of the workers. On the next line, mark and number the first type of music that influenced jazz. Choose a heading for this section from the headings chart. Write the heading on the line above this section. Now we'll go on to the paragraph that has the questions that I started asking. We're going to read the next paragraph, and I need you to look up when you have finished reading. Circle the check mark or question mark for this paragraph. Draw a question mark over words that confuse you. On line 10, mark and number the second type of music that influenced jazz. Mark the phrase that tells why they rewrote old songs. Mark the parts of church songs that African Americans changed. Go to line 13. Mark the phrase that means say and repeat. Choose a heading for this section from the headings chart. Write the heading on the line above this section. Now we're going to read the next paragraph. When you have finished reading the next paragraph, let me know by looking up. Circle the check mark or question mark for this paragraph. Draw a question mark over words that confuse you. Go to line 15. Mark the group of Europeans who wrote ballads. Review lines 16 and 17. Mark 4 words or phrases that explain ballads. Go to line 18. Mark and number the third type of music that influenced jazz. Choose a heading for this section from the headings chart. Write the heading on the line above this section. Let's read the next paragraph. When you have finished reading the next paragraph, look up so I know that you're ready to move on. Circle the check mark or the question mark for this paragraph. Draw a question mark over words that confuse you. Review line 19. Mark the prepositional phrase that tells when ballroom dance music was popular. Mark the prepositional phrase that tells where plantation dances were held. Circle the preposition. Review lines 22 and 23. Mark the instruments used for ballroom dance music. Mark and number the fourth type of music that influenced jazz. Draw arrows from this to the two types of music that combined to make it. Choose a heading for this section from the headings chart. Write the heading on the line above this section. Let's read the next paragraph. When you have finished reading the next paragraph, look up so that I know you're ready to move on. Circle the check mark or question mark for this paragraph. Draw a question mark over words that confuse you. Mark when ragtime was born. Mark at least 6 words or phrases that describe ragtime music. Go to line 30. Mark and number the fifth type of music to influence jazz. Choose a heading for this section from the headings chart. Write the heading on the line above this section. Let's read the next paragraph. When you have finished reading the next paragraph, look up so that I know you're ready to move on. Circle the check mark or question mark for this paragraph. Draw a question mark over words that confuse you. On line 33, mark the reason why free slaves sang the blues. On the same line, mark the synonym for blue. Mark one prepositional phrase and one transition word that tells when people played the blues. Go to line 35. Mark and number the sixth and final type of music that influenced jazz. Choose a heading for this section from the headings chart. Write the heading above on the line above this section. Let's read the last paragraph. When you have finished reading the last paragraph, look up so that I know that you're ready to move on. Circle the check mark or question mark for this paragraph. Draw a question mark over words that confuse you. Go to line 38. Mark a possessive noun. Draw an arrow from the owner to what it owns. Mark the word it 3 times in the paragraph. Draw a line from each one back to what it is referring to. Mark the 4 things that made New Orleans a musical city. Mark the different kinds of people who lived in New Orleans. Review line 39. Mark a famous street parade in Louisiana. Go to line 42. Find a possessive noun. Draw an arrow from the owner to what it owns. Go to the last sentence. Mark who created jazz. Choose a heading for this section from the headings chart. Write the heading on the line above this section. These simple sentences have a subject and a predicate. They answer the questions, who did it and what did they do? But they aren't complete. They leave us with too many questions. We want our sentences to say more than this, so we will work on additions to these sentences. Let's look at the sentence Kelly ate. What could we add to the sentence to answer what did they do it to? We could say Kelly ate a piece of pie. We could say Kelly ate some cookies. What about Jeff drew? What could we add to Jeff drew to answer the question, what did they do it to? We could say Jeff drew a monster. What about Sam wrote? How would we answer the question, what did they do it to, for the sentence Sam wrote? We could say Sam wrote a story. Now we need to answer the questions when, where, and how for each sentence. Let's look at Kelly. Kelly ate a piece of pie. We know we're going to talk about Kelly eating a piece of pie. Kelly ate a piece of pie when? On Thursday. So we have the sentence, Kelly ate a piece of pie on Thursday. Where did she eat it? Kelly ate a piece of pie in the cafeteria. How did she eat it? Well, Kelly didn't really want the pie. She was already full from lunch. So she ate a piece of pie reluctantly. So putting it all together, we can say, on Thursday, Kelly reluctantly ate a piece of pie in the cafeteria. So now let's look at page 142 in the student books. Look at the picture and develop a sentence that contains a subject, a predicate, and an adverbial phrase. In other words, we will answer the who or what question. Then we will answer the what did they do question. Then we will answer the what did they do it to question. And finally, we will answer the how, the when, and the where questions. Once we have all of our answers, we will move the painters until we find the word order we like the best. We're going to fill in the blanks as we work through the stages and make sure that your final version has correct punctuation. So looking at the picture, who or what did it? Well, that's easy. The musician did it. What did he do in this case? He played. What did he play? That's a trumpet, so he played the trumpet. Now we have to kind of rely on our imagination to answer some of this. When do you think he played it? On a weeknight, we're going to say like on Tuesday nights. And where did he play it? As some people say, at the club. And how did he play it? Does he look like he's never played a trumpet before? No, to me he looks like an expert. So I'm going to say he expertly played it. And so now we need to put it together. And I really like how in the previous example, when we were working through Kelly and her eating of the pie, we had the when statement first that we set off. So I think we're going to start with on Tuesday nights. And then we want to do our subject, verb, and what they did it to. So the musician now he played it. How did he play it? He expertly played the trumpet. And where did he play it again? At the club.